Hey guys, welcome to Is It Dead Yet? I'm Randy, and this is the first episode of Boss Beatdown. What is Boss Beatdown? It's a new series that we got going on where we take a boss from one of our favorite video games and then we give you a little dive into their background and give you some tips and tricks on giving said boss the beatdown. So for our very first episode, we chose Resident Evil's very own Dr. William Birkin. Come on, let's rock and roll. Will is what some would call a child prodigy, a real Doogie Howser. While kids his age were getting their driver's permit, Will was doing high-level research at Umbrella Pharmaceuticals. In Arklay County, he was offered to train under Umbrella's co-founder, James Marcus. During Birkin's training, he meets and becomes friends with that piece of work we know as Albert Wesker. After the training program concludes, both are offered senior roles in Arklay Labs. This is where they meet Umbrella's longtime test subject, Lisa Trevor, as seen in Resident Evil Remake. There, Will also meets a 10-year-old prodigy, Alexia Ashford. Naturally, he becomes painfully threatened by her. Umbrella hired her as a senior virologist, astounded by her supernatural intellect. Deservedly so, she does end up discovering the T. Veronica virus. William is now motivated and takes it on to himself to improve the T virus by bonding the virus with reptilian DNA. This created the terrorizing Hunter Alpha. Back to James Marcus, Umbrella co-founder felt James was becoming a liability. Birkin, Wesker, and a team of Umbrella security find and kill their mentor. With James out of the picture, all of the credit for the T-Virus is now passed over to William. At this point, helping his career in becoming top dog. Birkin is on a roll and gets his hands on the NE Alpha type parasite. With Lisa's help, Birkin was able to effectively test the Nemesis parasite. These tests help him discover the potential of the mighty Golgotha, aka the G-Virus. Fast forward, William marries fellow researcher Annette and has a kid named Sherry. T-Virus breaks out and was spreading. Knowing that, Birkin started destroying everything and sabotaging the facilities. His plan was to take the G and T-Virus and sell it to the US government, in hopes of living with his family, safe and away from Umbrella Corp. Umbrella sniffs out Dr. Birkin's plans and sends out a security team to intercept the G and T virus, in which they are successful, but not without an unfortunate standoff with Birkin. As you can imagine, Birkin is not the fighter type and loses that battle. Birkin is then faced with the ultimate decision: die with honor or infect himself with the G virus. With death standing at his doorstep, he chooses the latter. The G-Virus becomes unstable, he starts to mutate, at first for the better. From his perspective, he seems to have made the right choice. Unfortunately, Birkin would mutate 4 more times, each more heinous than the last. The G-Virus has given Birkin a second chance at life, but things are definitely not the same. Golgotha has taken over his mind and is mutating his body. It appears that his right eyeball has been severely enlarged and relocated to the far part of his shoulder. That whole left side is gnarly, stretched out skin, bones are all poking out, very red and swollen. Veins, gross. Yeah, it's crazy. G1 has mutated in other ways. He is now freakishly strong and fast. His weapon of choice is a large bent pipe. He'll also use his grotesque hand to try and crush your skull. He will snatch you up before you could say, "Dr. Birkin loves me." You are under the RPD in the machinery room. If you look at the map, it has this figure 8 type shape. Sight on a run pattern ahead of time and things should work out pretty well. On the downside, you have tight corridors and some nasty spots to get cornered. The map is detailed in ways to confuse you. He also can slip in and out of places that you can't, so take that in consideration. For G1, whether you're Claire or Leon, it's roughly the same idea. Keep your distance and don't miss. The recommendation is to hoard all the handgun rounds leading up to this fight. Easier said than done, but 60 plus should be enough. One way to save some handgun rounds is to shoot zombies in the toesies. Aim for those bunions. And the other one is don't wake the sleeping zombies. Keep in mind there are 3 boxes of handgun rounds in this area, so locate them and grab them if you need them. You can also use other weapons, but saving those for later can make life easier. Like grenades and shotgun rounds and things like that. Back to fighting Birkin. At first, the eyeball is closed. After enough damage, it will open up. Shooting the eye does do more damage, but not worth it if you miss. If you want a chance to shoot the eye, wait for him to do his mega pipe slam. Then you could have some time to blast away. As you get closer to the end of the fight, he will disappear and hop down on your ass. His face is in a plea of mercy, but don't fall for it and get out as soon as possible. This does not do any damage, but if you stick around, he'll sucker punch you, and yes, that one stings. Keep that up, and before you know it, he will be defeated. Now, on to G2. Birkin's mutations have progressed to G2. He has become less like the Doctor and more like the monster. This might sound macabre, but Birkin's design gets better and better. The eyeball on his shoulder has grown larger, there's a new eyeball on his back, and his giant hand is now a razor-sharp claw. Not to mention, Birkin's head is overwhelmed with tissue now, and is replaced by a brand new monster head. My favorite part of these designs are in the details. Each mutation tells a story and gives a hint to what is coming next. For example, underneath Birkin's left arm, there is a new arm developing for something that you see later. As imagined, G2 is now stronger and faster. You cannot outrun this guy anymore. And one hit takes quite a bit of damage. And impressively, he still has his pants on. G2's battle location is in the sewers, and this is quite different from the map in the machinery room. There's really nowhere you can run, and yeah. So at first you'll be starting off trapped inside a burning room and then moving to a small arena with a crane and storage containers. Both are claustrophobic as hell and there's nowhere to hide. Yeah, for this one, Leon and Claire's strategies are essentially the same thing, but your main weapon will be different. So you're going to be bringing the flamethrower for Leon and then the grenade launcher for Claire. And for both, go ahead and bring as many flashbangs and grenades as you can. In the first area, G2 will be punching through the ceiling with his claw, and each claw hit is, pretty hefty. So you want to obviously avoid that as much as possible. This sequence moves a lot faster if you could do damage to the claw, but it's much easier for Claire to do that since she has the grenade launcher. Leon, unfortunately, you're going to have to just bob and weave. G2 will now start bashing through this metal door off to the left, so what you gotta do is press up against the left hand side of the door. Once he breaks through, you can squeeze past him without getting hurt. Like I said, Big Boy can run, so at the end of the hall, turn around and wait for him to charge. This is so you could get enough space from G2 so you can get to the next area safely. Alright, in the second area, you're going to notice a crane which is holding a storage container. And to the right of the container is a controller for the crane. So go ahead and press that button and note that this will be the key to finishing off G2. But before that can happen, you gotta bring his health down to 1200 HP. And he's starting at 24,000 HP. You don't know when he's ready, but I can give you some ideas to help figure that out. So first off, each crane hit deals 7,000 damage, but it takes a long time to develop, so you can't just be doing that the whole time unless you got some serious Barry Sanders skills. For Leon, if you brought 400 plus flamethrower units and a few flash grenades, you should be fine. All you have to do is stun him and cook him till golden brown. With Clara, the recipe is around 4 magnum rounds, 1 grenade, 5 flame rounds, and a partridge in a pear tree. Again, I stress this match is much easier if you have some flashbangs. There is one located to the right of the controls. So after you think you've got his HP down enough, go and smash that like button, the crane button, and enjoy the rest. G3 is King G. This mutation is the peak of the Gs in my opinion, the most balanced of all the forms. Like the other forms, G3's design is top notch. His skin is translucent, allowing his raw tissue to show through, spikes in all the right places, and 4 freaking gnarly arms. He even has a little smile. If you want to be like the pros, this fight can get very technical. So knowing where to go, how to get out of danger is very crucial. So this arena is obviously a circle with these T-looking walls, and between those are various items like fuel, ammo, health, all that good stuff. So the general idea here is like usual, pop those eyeballs. Except for this one, when you pop his eyeballs, it does stagger him. G3 will do various attacks, like the traditional slash, the leap forward routine. He'll even rip off gigantic metal panels and throw them at you. You know, the usual. With Leon, after popping out those eyeballs, stunning him and whatnot, you're gonna go ahead and just do what you know how to do. Pull out your flamethrower, turn it up to 350, and cook him for dinner. With Claire, it's a bit easier if you brought enough acid rounds. Each one will stun him as long as he's not already stunned. Like you can't triple stamp a double stamp, you know? So if you time it properly, you just keep on shooting and you're good to go. So with the right knowledge, this fight is actually quite easy. But of course, easier said than done. It takes practice, it takes planning, just like all the good things in life. Now on to G4. Disclaimer on G4 and G5. These two are kind of the icing on the cake. They're not the main events. 1 through 3 are your heavy hitters. So I'm just gonna lightly brush through these guys and you'll understand why. First thing is Claire is the only one that fights G4. So Leon's just chilling, taking his sweet time to get over here. And with G4, it is evident that the mutations are not stopping. It's just getting worse and worse. In fact, they are getting gnarly. I guess fire and acid didn't really help that along. Things are melting together, eyeballs are gathered all up in the center, spikes all over the place with no rhyme or reason, and his head is completely unrecognizable. For some reason, he actually looks kind of cute. This arena is pretty simple and, yes, like usual, claustrophobic. You're on a circular elevator, moving down, trying to escape, and then of course in the middle of it is a giant train. So not a lot of places to run except around in circles. So the biggest tip is before going into this fight, hopefully you have room for the minigun. And then a few grenades would be nice. G4 is virtually indestructible, so shooting the eyes are really the only way to kill it. His health is something ridiculous. Use the corners of the train to avoid G4's charge, and that's pretty much it. There's not much to this. You just kill him. That's your best tip right there. Kill this guy right here. Quick note about G5. You'll only see him in the B scenario. So if you start off with Leon, you'll see him with Claire, and then vice versa. G5 is pretty nasty. I have no clue how it even got into that train. And like I said, with G4, the mutations just keep getting worse and worse. I hope this is the end of G5, just to put it out of his misery. It's nasty. It's like watching an episode of Hoarders. There's, litter boxes and Amazon boxes, spikes, and just gross, unrecognizable things. Your arena here is obviously the train, and yeah, that's it. There's not much to say about this. Pretty cool concept though. A lot of detail in the train's caboose. At this point in the game, you should have a plethora of ammo and weapons to choose from for this one. So bring some things. Bring something that you'd enjoy to use for the last time. It's very straightforward. Obviously he's right in front of you. All you have to do is just wait, be patient, and wait for that eyeball to be exposed, and have at it. Shoot it. Shoot it till it's dead. Rip and tear.